In the previous life, Shen Zhou went bankrupt and was wearing a green hat. He died unexpectedly due to his heart death. Before closing his eyes, he seemed to hear someone shouting to him. Shen Zhou, don't. He smiled and thought to himself, why did the police flower girl shout so sadly? I didn't expect him to be reborn until the end of the college entrance examination. In this life, he swore. Love, dogs never talk. To live is to make money. Jiang Shuyue. Shenzhou, I chose the same major as you in college. Shenzhou. Let's not talk about this for now. Why do you just run to my house when you have nothing to do? Chapter 1. Rebirth 2009. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Brain storage, happiness for you, me, and him __________, Haitang, Bincheng. June 10, 2009. Shen Zhou sat up suddenly and said, I'm not dead. He looked around his small nest, which was less than 20 square meters, with yellowed photos of Jay Chou and Kobe on the wall, as well as old air conditioning, all of which reminded him. You have been reborn, Son Yen. Shenzhou is still a bit unbelievable. It's a bit too close to go back to 2009 from 24. This old house, where he lived from childhood to adulthood, has not returned for over a decade since he started working. Ah, what can I do when I come back? It's not worth it in this world. Dingling bell. Shen Zhou was startled by the bell and frantically pulled out a Nokia 7610 from under his pillow. Chen. Zhou Gu, you stood me up again, didn't you? I'll help you occupy the machine like a bad pen, and you promise to take me to lie down in a different world. Xiao Chen, you're still alive. I really want to. Chen interrupted him with grievances. Zhou Gu, even if I borrow 50 from you but haven't paid it back, even if I keep asking you to bring me the Abyssal Realm map, even if I ask you to draw Huazi but haven't fulfilled it, forget it. I owe you too much, but you can't curse me, can you? Shen Zhou was suddenly surprised. Yes, this horse was riding in 2009, and he hasn't been able to adapt to it yet. Cough, Xiaochen, stop playing with DNF. Forget about playing free leagues if you have nothing to do. DNF will cool down in another decade or so. Chen. Can words be spoken more than a decade later? Xiao Chen, stop playing. When in road Xiaobing, baked cake and griddle, shop is waiting for me. I want to eat that fish-flavored pork shred. Chen hangs up the phone, looks at the screen, and is knocked to death by Goblin and Tauren again. Why did Brother Zhou talk so much today? Forget it. I will invite him to eat Xiaobing, baked cake and griddle, later. He can't still remember the 50. Shen Zhou turned off the air conditioning and went out to wash his face. Looking at this young and handsome face that was comparable to Hu Gu, he finally accepted the reality of his rebirth. I scored 623 points in the college entrance examination. Wu Qingqing. My parents are still alive. Many memories flashed through his mind. No, my father Shen Chang is still alive. He glanced at the wall clock, which was 10.26. In his previous life, on June 10, 2009, his father Shen Chang was electrocuted while fishing in a reservoir. It took him 5 days to retrieve his body, and it was eventually picked up in a muddy area downstream. After learning this news, Wei Qingrong's mother had white hair overnight, appearing to have aged more than 10 years. 2 years later, she died of depression at the age of 42. Shen Zhou never imagined that his parents would have such a deep relationship, mainly because they argued a little every 2 days and a big one every 3 days. In his past life, he suspected that his parents would suddenly ask him, "Who are you with when we divorce?" Thinking of this, Shen Zhou immediately ran back to the house and called his father. Do, I won't have. Do. Shen Zhou's palms and forehead were sweating profusely, and no one answered the phone, causing him to panic. At the last second, he said, "You stinky kid, my big fish was scared away by you. Almost, I almost brought it up. Shen Chang's slightly deep voice rang out, and Shen Zhou's eyes suddenly turned red. 13 years later, he heard that warm voice again. Dad, I miss you so much. By the way, don't fish for now. I heard that there are illegal electric fish there. Be careful and quickly stay away from the fishing rod. What electric fish? Sleeping trough, old Chen. Old Chen. Don't even touch him. The intermittent noise and screams of phone interruptions made Shen Zhou feel a bit uneasy. Old Chen. No, right. Is it because I reminded my father that he turned around and took out his phone, and then Uncle Chen was electrocuted? Think of this. Shen Zhou called his father's phone several times again, but it indicated that it was turned off grass. Xiao Chen, take a taxi to my house to pick me up. It seems like your second uncle is gone. Chen Chen looked mournful and said, Brother Zhou, don't curse me, curse my family instead, right? After the results are out, can't I still repay you that 50 yuan? I'm not joking with you, Uncle Chen may have been electrocuted while fishing. 1 hour later. In the northern suburbs of Bincheng, there is the Shaoqing River Reservoir. Shen Zhou and Chen Chen felt anxious when they got off the taxi. How could there be a police car? The two of them squeezed into the crowd, only to see Shen Chang and Chen Biao pressing down on one person, with 7 or 8 people around intentionally or unintentionally blocking the police. Lao Shen, stop hitting me, you've hit me all. Chow, Lao Chen, please hold on a bit. If it weren't for Shen Zhou's reminder, we would have instructed him to stay here today. Let's kill this dog. Nonsense. Let go, let go. You're obstructing official duties. The police shouted loudly, and the 7 or 8 onlookers finally dispersed. Shen Chang gave a sigh of relief and reached out to smooth his large back. Chen Biao glared at Shen Chang with unfriendly eyes. He seriously suspected that the old Deng was intentional and at least punched him 4 or 5 times on the shoulder. At this moment, Shen Zhou also saw clearly that the person lying on the ground seemed to be an electric fish, still wearing a waterproof suit. However, the outcome was a bit tragic, with blood all over his nose and mouth. Stinky kid, why did you come? Shen Zhou looked at his father, who was covered in dirt and not afraid of getting dirty, so he gave him a bear hug and said, Old Shen, it's really nice of you to still be there. What you said on the phone was so chaotic that it scared me to death. Shen Chang was stunned for a moment, and his heart said that being an adult is different. The emotions in his speech are so full that he was almost moved. Cough, all right. Just now, Old Chen brought up a big fish and my phone ran out of battery. I'm very dirty on my body, let's go. Are you short of money to spend? Don't mess around like this, your father and I have goosebumps all over the ground. Shen Chang took out a red ticket from his pocket and slapped it in Shen Zhou's arms, showing great boldness. In the gap between father and son's warmth, Chen Biao had already explained the situation to Uncle Hat. After everyone confirmed and made a simple record, the electric fish man was arrested. Chen Chen looked enviously at the 100 yuan banknote in Shen Zhou's hand and thought to himself, can sentimentality also deceive pocket money? Thinking of this, he also rushed over and gave Chen Biao a bear hug like a model. Cough, uncle, I missed you. It's really nice of you to still be there. Pop. Chen Biao scratched his forehead and said, little brat, do you still want me? If you want money, go with your father. Did you take the 50 under my mat? Chen Chen rubbed his head and looked sad. He couldn't even admit that he had picked up a huge sum of 50 yuan at his second uncle's house. Heart says that human joys and sorrows are not the same. Time soon arrived in the evening. Shen Zhou didn't take Chen Chen to the internet. He is a reborn guy who no longer likes playing games. The heavy burden of life makes him breathless, and in his past life, he only occasionally played mobile games. Shen Chang sat in the living room smoking, frowning as he looked at his son busy in the kitchen. He thought to himself, is this a change of person? Has the sun set in the west? Perhaps they didn't pretend to be poor too much. Click. Shen Chang saw the door open and quickly welcomed him, whispering, "Wife, I suspect my son is sick." Wei Qingrong glanced at him and threw the key onto the shoe cabinet. "I think you're sick. Did you buy the vegetables I asked you to buy? You know how to smoke all day. Xiaozhou just finished his college entrance exam, so it's okay to indulge a little. If he doesn't come back to eat, let him do it." Wei Qingrong is already 40 years old, looking like she is 30 years old and has fair skin, resembling a beautiful young woman. Shen Chang met with a nose full of dust and said to himself, "Then you can see for yourself." Wei Qingrong put on his slippers and walked into the living room. He immediately smelled the smell of meat. Through the sliding door, he saw his son waving a spatula in the kitchen and was stunned. Has the sun set in the west? Old Shen, what stimulation did he get? Did you say he did? Shen Chang took a strong sip and extinguished his cigarette. I didn't know. I gave him 100 yuan today, thinking about asking him to go out and have some delicious food with his friends. As a result, he went directly to the market to buy a bunch of vegetables and came back. He started busy at 4 o'clock and even hugged me, saying he missed me. Wei Qingrong tilted his head and directly reached out to grab his ear. Where did you get 100? At this moment, Shen Zhou had just finished stir-frying the last dish, sweet and sour pork ribs. He opened the kitchen door and saw a harmonious scene between the couple. Mom! I miss you so much. The couple looked at each other and said to themselves that their son seemed a bit abnormal. Chapter 13. Shenzhou, why do you have to carry someone behind your back? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wen, do you think Jiang Shuyue is the most beautiful girl in our number 1 middle school? Nonsense. Before Qingqing, Chen Shi from class 1 and Fang Shimei from class 5 were hard to distinguish between Buizhong. Since the 11th, there has been a small white flower in class 1 that no one can surpass. Li Shimi covered her small mouth and said, TSK, look at that. Jiang Shuyue's gaze at Shen Zhou is too dependent. They must have had an affair for a long time. How could Wu Qingqing just refuse him when he found the most beautiful school flower? Now Jiang Shuyue has truly become the white moonlight of those boys. Perhaps what Li Shuai said is right, Shen Zhou may have 2 legs in one boat. Zhang Wen touched her arm and said, hurry up and buy it. After buying it, leave and don't let them see it. It's awkward. After they left carrying 4 large bags, Shen Zhou instantly distanced himself from Jiang Shuyue. He was a bit stunned just now. In order to completely distance himself from Wu Qingqing, he would actually use the little rich woman. Damn it. Shen Zhou, your mouth is dirty, please help me wipe it. Wipe yourself, it's already cold. Why are you so happy eating? Jiang Shuyue hissed and pecked at the cola, refusing to answer. Hart said, Zhuo Gu said he was scheming. She finally put it into practice, it's really useful. No, you seem to be drinking my cola. Why didn't you move the new one in front of you? Jiang Shuyue used a sucking straw and made a hissing sound, but surprisingly saw the bottom, good to drink, wipe your mouth. Shen Zhou saw that KFC's receptionist sister had been secretly looking at them, and he said that his mother was still eating melon. Just feel like I owe you something, come over here. He gently wiped her pink and red lips with his hand, and the KFC front desk girl's eyes suddenly lit up, with crescent-shaped eyes. Flute sound KTV 888 large bag. Zhang Wen and Li Shimi returned carrying 4 large bags and placed the change in front of Li Shuai. She approached Wu Qingqing sitting beside her in a daze. Li Shuaizheng stood on the small stage with deep affection, staring at Wu Qing singing, laughing eyes. Zhang Wen touched her best friend with her elbow and said, what are you thinking? Half ice cola, drink it. Wu Qingqing frowned and asked, what's wrong with Wen? Are you still waiting for Shen Zhou to take the initiative to apologize to you and add you back as a QQ friend? Humph, he can add it if he wants, delete it if he wants. What do you treat me as? I won't add it. We must let him know where his mistake is. Zhang Wen fell silent. My best friend really didn't know that Shen Zhou had already fallen in love with Jiang Shuyue. Qingqing, why do you think Shenzhou hasn't moved for half a month this time? Che, what else can he think? He always bothers me every night, messaged me, thinking I've been taken by him. I never promised to date him after the college entrance examination, but I was very tactful. When we get to college, doesn't he just want me to take the initiative? I'm not. Zhang Wen sighed. Do you want to tell her best friend everything she saw? On the way back, she had already discussed with Li Shimi, and it was up to her, Zhang Wen, to decide whether to say it or not. In fact, Zhang Wen and Li Shimi are quite envious of Wu Qingqing. Not only are they beautiful, but their studies are also not bad. Moreover, there are boys like Shen Zhou who have been pursuing him, and the key is that Shen Zhou is not bad either. Which girl in Huichuan doesn't envy her? Besides, there are also Li Shuai and other classmates chasing after her. Ah, Qingqing, let me ask you again. Shen Zhou has been chasing you for 3 years, and you really don't like him at all. Wu Qingqing squatted heavily on the table. I don't like it. You haven't seen Jiang Shuyue behind him, his proud expression, this kind of guy, hee. Have you ever thought that you actually like him? This is a sign of jealousy. Are you jealous? Will I be jealous of him? Don't make a fuss, Wen. I'm going to be furious with him now, unless he apologizes to me in person and explains why he didn't respond to me on the day of the photo shoot. I won't talk to him for the rest of my life. Zhang Wen saw that Li Shuai had been staring at this side, and her voice lowered a bit. Are you not afraid that he will be transferred to another relationship? Wu Qingqing smiled and said, You're not talking about Jiang Shuyue, are you? Don't tease me, he can't even catch me. Can he catch her? Do you know anything? Zhang Wen quickly blinked and her face changed a bit. Fortunately, the KTV lights were dim. I don't know, you've been overthinking it. Drink it, and where's Mr. Li? You didn't respond either. The way you looked at him. Wen, I'm not in the mood to make such jokes right now. Forget about Li Shuai, he's even more annoying. Wu Qingqing took 2 sips of Colle and always felt that today's Colle tasted a bit bitter. After Li Shuai finished turning on the screen, he didn't get a smile from the beauty, instead, it was the dog legs applauding the most happily. The private room time was originally tentatively set at 2 hours, and he invited Wu Qingqing multiple times, but other classmates sang one song after another. Wu Qingqing kept his face cold and seemed unhappy, so he had to give up. As it approached 10 o'clock, I didn't even want to sing anymore. Fu Cheng and others suggested going to the Moat Park for a stroll. Anyway, it's not far from home and we're on vacation. After a few days of wandering, the parents didn't say anything. Zhang Wen and Li Shimi exchanged a glance at the Moat Park. Isn't that across from KFC? If Wu Qingqing saw Shen Zhou and Jiang Shuyue feeding each other. TSK, Qingqing won't go crazy, will she? At this time, inside the Moat Park. Shen Zhou and Jiang Shuyue are walking side by side on the wooden path. There was a sunglasses suit bodyguard hanging far behind the two. I should be able to repay you the money in July. Why don't you ask me what I borrowed money for? Don't ask, you must be useful. Jiang Shuyue paused for a moment and suddenly asked, Shenzhou, do you like my legs? Cough cough. KFC is very delicious. I haven't eaten it for many years, but you always looked at my legs just now. 25.6 times. Shen Zhou almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. He suspected that this girl was either autistic or pretending to be foolish. How could he ask this in person? He really wanted to find a crack in the ground to get in. Fortunately, night has become his protective color, invisible. That. Everyone has a love for beauty. Am I beautiful? You tell me, you tempt me again, I will. You scolded me, Auntie said let me. Auntie, I'm afraid of you now. I promise I won't watch it again next time. Jiang Shuyue. No, what she means is, if you like it, she won't wear such a long dress next time. I'm not. Humph, Shen Zhou, you're a bad guy. At this moment, there happened to be a grandmother walking forward with her grandson. Grandma, I've also heard my mom call Dad a bad guy. Why did you tell my grandfather not to let me be a bad guy? The old lady gave Shen Zhou a fierce glare and then a stunning glance at Jiang Shuyue. After walking far away, he finally educated, you can even find me a granddaughter like that when you grow up, and you can also be a villain. Also, don't listen to your parents in the corner next time. Ah, Xiaoguang and Lily don't know how to carry someone behind their backs. Jiang Shuyue held her small head high, her eyes bright, and said, Shen Zhou, I know eavesdropping is not right, but what does the old lady mean by carrying someone behind her back? That kind of thing is a poison that pierces through the intestines. If touched, it will die. You and my brothers cannot touch it. Oh. Chapter 16. You scam people, that's the diamond endurance ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the car, Shen Zhou looked at her coldly holding a book called The Little Prince, with a heavy heart. Jiang Shuyue, we are brothers. It's not good of you to do this, right? Shen Zhou, it was my aunt who called me to inquire about my grades. You should know that's not what I'm talking about. I consider you a good brother who can borrow money, and you're going to rob my mother. Jiang Shuyue's expression remained unchanged as she flipped through a page of the book and said, and he told me to treat her like a mother. Shen Zhou was taken aback, this is not right. Jiang Shuyue has been to her home twice, hasn't she? Ms. Wei, did you pay a change of mouth fee in advance? Pooh, raising people like daughter.in.law. No, Jiang Shuyue, a wealthy family like them, can climb high. We must break Ms. Wei's illusions. As the vehicle came to a steady stop, Shen Zhou got off on his own and Uncle Hai calmly opened the car door for Jiang Shuyue. You go up first, they probably haven't come back yet. Jiang Shuyue glanced at him with beautiful eyes and said, oh, I have the key. Shen Zhou was momentarily speechless. Yes, my mom gave her the spare keys at home. Seeing the little rich woman carrying a small powder bag clattering upstairs, Shen Zhou squatted in the shade feeling a bit depressed. Master Shen, if you have anything you want to ask, just ask. I will pick up what I can say and say. Shen Zhou looked up at Uncle Hai and thought to himself, have all my thoughts been written on my face? Cough, Uncle Hai, won't you go back to Yanjing? Why did you stay for 2 days and then come back? Don't her parents want her? Uncle Hai said expressionlessly, Miss has no feelings for that family, and this trip back is also a last resort. 2 days is already the limit, and I can't discuss anything else about the main family. Shen Zhou nodded and said, I also want to ask, the little rich woman has so much pocket money. If she spends too much, will her family know about it? He just wanted to inquire whether the little rich woman had been discovered by her family when she borrowed 4.5 million from him. If someone thinks he's a scammer and finds his home again, Lao Shen's belt will probably start working. In 2009, in an era where the average person was over 10,000 yuan, 40,000 to 50,000 yuan was considered big money, not to mention 4.5 million yuan. Uncle Hai shook his head and said, as far as I know, Mr. Jiang gives Miss a pocket money of 800,000 to 1 million yuan every year. This has been the case since junior high school. This time when he returned to Yanjing, Miss Jiang did not live at home, so Mr. Jiang probably didn't know. Uncle Hai paused and continued, actually, I've been wanting to thank young Master Shen in person for a long time. Thank me. Thank me for what? I haven't said a few words to her in high school for 3 years. By the way, why does she turn so black every day? You should ask Miss yourself about this. How can it still be mysterious and mysterious? Mom. Hello, dear mother, what instructions do you have? Excuse me, how can you stay at home with Shuyue? Your father and I still need some time to go back. Take her to the supermarket, buy some groceries and her favorite snacks. What are you doing downstairs with your cat? Go upstairs and take 1,000 yuan from the second bed in my wardrobe. Hanging up the phone, Shen Zhou looked up viciously at the long-haired little head on the third floor, so angry that his back teeth were even bitten. Be patient. After the demolition payment is received in a few days, we will immediately clear our relationship with her. Do you need to give a report without taking her upstairs? Hey, Shuyue, if it's hot, turn on the air conditioning at home. I told him, you guys have fun. Auntie, I'm not suing you. Shen Zhou took me to eat delicious food, You don't need to make up for him. You guys can play and cook delicious food for you when we go back tonight. Thank you, Auntie. Shen Zhou saw her holding her phone in both hands while making a phone call, her eyes smiling like crescent moon, and he guessed that it was the result of her scheme. Don't laugh, go downstairs, as you wish. Okay. Uncle Hai saw Jiang Shuyue laughing so happily, and his aunt's smile never stopped. This summer is probably the happiest time for Miss, he said, I want a wealthy dad, my mouth is bigger than hers. Jiang Shuyue ran down the stairs, panting heavily, Shenzhou, I'm coming down. Shen Zhou said, if you want to go shopping and eat at the supermarket, you should have told me earlier. I'll just take you there and it's over. What should I tell my mom? He opened his backpack and saw that there were still over 1,000 yuan in cash inside, all of which were put into his pocket. He threw the backpack into the laoli. He suddenly realized that the money seemed to have been given by the little rich woman, and his attitude was a bit bad. Put on your little hat and take you to the neighboring supermarket for a stroll. It's very close, Uncle Hai doesn't need to take the train anymore. Jiang Shuyue walked side by side with Shen Zhou, and after about 6 or 7 minutes, the two finally entered Xinfu's supermarket. Shenzhou, I want to drink iced cola, thirsty. That thing is all colored saccharin, it's not good for the body. Is the small box on the shelf next to the salesperson bubble gum? I see a circle drawn on it. That's a bubble gum that only adults can play with, you can't. Play. Can't you eat? Turn your head around and don't look around. 10 minutes later, Shen Zhou pushed a full small cart, with tonight's dishes at the bottom only, and the rest being snacks bought for the little rich woman. The two of them were queuing up for payment, and Jiang Shuyue tugged at his clothes. Shenzhou, you're lying. I've seen it clearly. It says diamond endurance ring and light and thin dot. Shen Zhou immediately covered her mouth and glanced sideways at her surroundings. Fortunately, her voice was not loud and she was quite obedient in the crowd. This is going to be heard, do you still want his face? Now, immediately, shut up, don't look anymore. Jiang Shuyue's face turned red, and she instantly regained her high cold appearance, but her eyes were bright, and her heart said that Shen Zhou's palms were all sweaty. After paying, Shen Zhou asked her to pick up a bag full of potato chips, which was full of 3 bags. As soon as I walked out to the entrance hall of the supermarket, the small children's carousel next to me suddenly lit up and started spinning. Searching, searching, searching for friends, finding a good friend. Jiang Shuyue stared blankly at the only small client sitting on top, who was a little girl with countless braids tied up in the sky. Her aunt was probably smiling beside her. After leaving, little rich woman, my hands are turning red. I should have let Uncle Hai drive. Don't tell me, you want to play. She's so happy. You're an adult now. If you ride on it, this thing should fall apart. Jiang Shuyue couldn't move her foot, her eyes constantly changing with colorful lights. Go home first, I'll take you to the carousel that adults should ride on. Jiang Shuyue smiled and saw someone as mentally disabled. Okay, I remember, she said, definitely next time. Well, Shen Zhou, you're so kind. This 6 or 7 minute journey would have exhausted Shen Zhou to the point of being dumbfounded. Looking at her congested palms, and then at Jiang Shuyue, who had her big white legs exposed, eating potato chips, and drinking cold cola while watching TV, she was speechless and choked. Glancing at the little rich woman's legs, he no longer looked at her. He was afraid he couldn't resist, so he didn't treat him like an outsider. Actually, he just said that girls should protect themselves from walking around and encountering bad people outside. What do they say? They say it's at home. Okay, Shen Zhou has nothing to say. Just one more thing, he's the bad guy. He took out 6 demolition contracts from his backpack, and later collected 2 more sets, spending 800,000 yuan on them. There was still 2.02 million yuan in his card. Chapter 4. 36 Strategies for Capturing Men. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shen Zhou was sitting in the big labor camp, thinking that the company would drive them there, but ended up stopping by the roadside as soon as he left the school gate. He sat in the passenger seat, Jiang Shuyue in the back seat, and the driver got out of the car with wit. The atmosphere is not particularly awkward. He also found that the driver had even broken the rearview mirror, allowing him to see Jiang Shuyue's cold little face while sitting in the passenger seat. That's really thoughtful. Shen Zhou looked left and right, touched the leather seat, and stopped at the center console. I can't afford to pay for my broken heart. The first time I sat at a Rolls-Royce, I was actually a wealthy lady sitting next to me. You can touch it. Jiang Shuyue suddenly said coldly. Ah. Forget it, I'm a loser, I don't deserve it. You're doing well. What? What the hell are you doing? Just say, we'll have to take a big group photo in class later. Jiang Shuyue once again extended her tender white hand and handed over the golden bank card. Here you are, send. Lend it to you, she said. Various thoughts have already flashed in Shen Zhou's heart, she wants to take care of me. Basically pass. He only told Chen about his idea of borrowing money. Can my good friend find a sponsor for me? Shen Zhou took the bank card and glanced at the number. Wow, the last digits of the bank card are 7 or 8 eighths. The mode is inhumane. How much money is inside? Why did you lend me money? How do you know I want to borrow money? After 3 rounds of questioning, Jiang Shuyue's face turned slightly red, cute and somewhat unreal. I have all my pocket money in it, with 6 passwords. I don't know how much, but if it's not enough, I can still ask my family for it. Shen Zhou said 666 and suddenly turned around to stare at her. There is no love without reason in the world. And it's also a white moonlight that can only steal people's hearts. This is like a double win in a sports lottery or a lucky lottery, with a negative chance. Jiang Shuyue had a calm expression and a restless heart. She calmly took out a book from the nearby cup holder and blocked her face. Shen Zhou's mouth twitched. Is it so direct? When he watches 36 Strategies for Capturing Men in front of him. He tried hard to recall everything that happened between him and Jiang Shuyue. After 3 years of high school, that means nothing happened. She seems to have borrowed erasers from him a few times, he has eaten her snacks a few times, and at other times, he really treats her like air. And he remembers that the teacher didn't even ask Jiang Shuyue questions. Now, thinking about it, the money ability is so terrifying. Are you not afraid that I won't repay you? Not afraid. Why lend me money? You lack it. Where did you know I was short of money? I asked. Is 36 Strategies for Capturing Men so good? Looking. Jiang Shuyue widened her eyes and suddenly closed the book, flipping it over and pressing it under her buttocks. A little devil in Shen Zhou's heart said, how good I should be to suppress this. Another demon instantly gave him a big ear scratch, love, dogs don't even talk about it. You can't be careless. You read it wrong. It's the 36 strategies of the art of war. Drop by drop. The news came in a timely manner, and Shenzhou opened QQ. Chen. Zhou Gu, we are taking a group photo in freedom. Come back quickly. The whole class will have a big group photo soon. Li Shui is crazy and pretending to be bouncing on my face. Your Qingqing is about to be abducted and run away. Shen Zhou sneered and snapped back, there's nothing to worry about. I want to ask you, did you tell Jiang Shuyue about my lack of money? Chen. Next time, please have fish-flavored shredded pork with fire. Divert your gaze. Okay, there's an inside story on the cliff. Dare to play with him, a 30-year-old Bangzi who has been in the workplace for 10 years, stealing the sky and changing the sun. When he looked up again, Jiang Shuyue was already holding a book called Orange Born in Huainan, in her hand, blocking her face again. Your level is quite high, Jiang. You can read books with great interest even when you're down. Jiang Shuyue panicked and turned the book upside down, then suddenly buried her face in the book. Shen Zhou, this bad guy. Surprisingly deceive her. She was originally looking straight at it. What a shame. You're good or bad? Shen Zhou's brain instantly became congested. Who can withstand the blow of the school flower? Which man can withstand the 3 words, good or bad? Don't tempt me, I'm a gentleman. Let's go and check with the agricultural bank across the street to see how much money is inside. I might borrow all of it. Oh. I'm planning to start a business and make money, are you not afraid that I won't be able to pay back if I lose money? Oh, don't you return it. No, we can't talk together. He doesn't even know why this girl sent him money. Just because we've been sitting together for 3 years. Did you say no more than 10 sentences? Liking him is even more nonsense. Shen Zhou's appearance can only be described as above average, on par with Hu Gu. He can't be considered a top-tier handsome man, but in terms of temperament, he is still tightly controlled. It's only June 11, 2009, and it's not far from the airing of Xian Jian San. He has watched this drama, Shen Zhou's favorite and the starting point of Hu Gu, no less than 10 times. Here, as soon as Shen Zhou inserted his card into the self-service ATM, he heard the sound of Pia behind him. Looking back, I did follow along and thought to myself, still feeling uneasy, right? You were so generous just now, aren't you afraid that I might steal money? Come in, don't you not know how much money you have? Look at it together, it's hard to explain when you can save it. 10 seconds later Shen Zhou stretched his neck, arched his waist, his eyes almost touching the screen, he was counting 0. 7 digits. 4.5 million. Gudong. Shen Zhou swallowed his saliva hard. The salary level in 2009 was already not high, and if the average person could save 10,000 yuan per year, it would be a safe and comfortable life, even in rural areas. He turned around and glanced at Jiang, who was standing obediently behind him. Are you sure you want to lend me money? You didn't steal your parents' money, did you? I'm a bit afraid to borrow it. Jiang Shuyue pouted as if a little angry, my own. Are you not afraid of me carrying a bucket and running away? What is running away with a bucket? It's pretending to start a business, pretending to lose all the money, but in fact, it's all in my own pocket. Jiang Shuyue showed a cold and proud expression, her pink mouth opening and closing, not afraid. Shen Zhou is even more puzzled now. What is she trying to figure out? Driving a Rolls-Royce Phantom, accompanied by a white-gloved driver, and seeing his demeanor, with a suit and small leather shoes, everyone shouted, Mr. Shen, TSK 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 TSK. Shenzhou, can I ask you a question? Say. Where do you want to take the college entrance exam? Shen Zhou's eyes lit up, and indeed, he said he was not afraid of him carrying a bucket and running away, but his heart said that I had already seen through you. After going through such a big circle, you should have told me earlier. I'm already in my province and planning to go to Jeju University. One is close to home, and the other doesn't need to be mentioned. Jiang Shuyue nodded coldly and silently recited, Jeju University. On the playground of No. 1 middle school. Chen felt angry as he watched Li Shuai, who was being courteous and boastful by Wu Qingqing's side, constantly pretending to be coerced. Xin said to Jiang, don't sell me to Zhou Gu, otherwise their brothers won't have to do it. Sleeping trough, take a quick look, is this a Rolls Royce? Pink is so coquettish. Li Shuai glanced at him and thought to himself that even half of his family's assets could buy a car. He pretended to be a pushover in front of the girls. Where did the wealthy second generation come from? Hey, my dad even said he would give me a car when I graduate from college. I didn't want it, I have to rely on my own hands to create wealth. I want to be a wealthy generation. Handsome guy, domineering. Handsome and mighty. Zhang Wen, Wu Qingqing, Lu Shasha, Li Shimi and others glanced at them, and the scorn in their eyes would hit him along the hair. The boys are really his mother naive. I don't know who roared, is that Shenzhou? Driver Uncle Hai went directly to the co-pilot and opened the car door. Shen Zhou, wearing big bitter tea and slippers, stepped out with a jade leg that came with her own sweater. Uncle Hai is too polite. I don't deserve your service. Mr. Shen, you're welcome. You should take care of my young lady more. Ah. How else can he take care of it? Chen roared loudly upon seeing the situation, Brother Zhou is so imposing. Brother Zhou's car is really impressive. Li Shuai, Fu Cheng, and Zhou Ming are all confused, right or wrong. How could it be Shenzhou? Uncle Hai arrived at the back row and opened the car door. Jiang Shuyue stepped out with a smooth little white leg, and a pair of white sandals hung on her pink feet. The purple off-the-shoulder long dress highlights an extremely slender figure, coupled with her own height of nearly 1.7 meters, coupled with a cool little face, it exudes a goddess-like demeanor. Shenzhou talks about eating soft rice every day, really eating soft rice. Is it still such a beautiful soft rice? I'm not convinced. Chapter 6, I will wait for him to apologize to me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Gu, I still want to treat you to barbecue. Why are you riding so fast? Chen caught up panting on his bike. Forget it, let's reschedule. The holiday is over 2 months, let me postpone it for 2 days. Shenzhou stood on his pedals and accelerated away. In no time, Rolls-Royce Phantom caught up. Chen glanced around and confirmed that there were no classmates around. He took out a note from his pocket and threw it into the back row of the Phantom. Jiang, you promised me that even if you wear the same pants as Zhou in the future, you won't be able to confess me. The response to him was a foot on the gas and exhaust. Chen watched as the luxury car drove away and murmured, what are Zhou Ji's strengths? I haven't studied them for 3 years. Is it a physique specifically designed to attract wealthy women? Thinking of this, he really wondered. Shenzhou is ordinary, but Jiang Shuyue gives him pocket money every month to buy him, just to get various news about Shenzhou. What are you trying to do? Sure enough, it's here. Wu Qingqing and Zhang Wen respectively rode red and blue bicycles and stopped beside him. Chen was confused, and his heart said he wouldn't have come to find Shenzhou too, right? Chen, where is Shenzhou? Zhou Gu has returned home for lunch. Aren't you going to the party? A hint of joy flashed in Wu Qingqing's eyes. As long as she didn't walk with Jiang Shuyue, she didn't know why. Seeing Shenzhou and Jiang Shuyue standing together made her particularly uncomfortable. Moreover, Jiang Shuyue is wealthy and attractive, and she is particularly clingy to Shenzhou. During the class photo just now, Shenzhou asked her not to stand in the sun. They seem to be in love. Jiang Shuyue saw that her best friend had been silent for a long time and replied, "We'll go in a moment. We're just here to ask if you're going. By the way, what is the situation with Jiang Shuyue? Do you understand?" Wu Qingqing pulled back her thoughts, and just as she heard what she wanted to hear, she instantly added, "Yeah, Chen, isn't Jiang Shuyue very dark? And I've never seen her speak in public before, isn't she mute?" Chen's face darkened, and he thought to himself that you were the mute. If it weren't for Zhou Ge liking you, I would have had to give you a scolding. That would be the young master's mother. Of course not, they just don't like talking to fools. Wu Qingqing and Jiang Shuyue exchanged a glance and watched Chen ride away. Wen, is this chubby guy cursing me? The word mute is indeed a bit excessive. Humph, that's it. I've never heard her talk before. Jiang Shuyue looked at her best friend's expression and asked seriously, "Do you really like Shenzhou?" Wu Qingqing directly denied, "Of course not, it's just that I haven't fallen in love with him for the time being." Before the college entrance examination, Shen Zhou said that he wants to take the exam with me at Sichuan University. Maybe when I get to Sichuan University, I will gradually fall in love with him. Jiang Shuyue said silently, "Qingqing, if you like Shenzhou, I advise you to be more direct. Now that we are all adults, he started chasing you in his sophomore year and treated you quite well. Apart from not being as good as Yang Yangshui in class 1, he also had no shortcomings. Oh Wen, why are you still talking to him? You can't let men easily get good things. Besides, we're not in a romantic relationship. Let's see how he behaves in the future. You're not someone who just ignored me after the college entrance exam. You're definitely trying to catch my attention. If I don't, I'll wait for him to apologize to me." Jiang Shuyue glanced at Wu Qingqing and said to herself that her best friend is good at everything, just likes to put on airs. Yes, that's it. Let's wait for him to apologize. She said she originally wanted to persuade Wu Qingqing, but after thinking about it, she decided not to. Love is not something that can be forced. You give warmth like a licking dog in exchange for a thank you. You are a good person. Others may get a kiss or even a room pass with just 2 or 3 sweet words. At this point, Shenzhou had returned to the community and greeted the grandparents sitting in the shade. They sat alone in the doorway, enjoying the cool breeze. In fact, he was also thinking about how to completely sever ties with Wu Qingqing. This woman's actions are actually a bit extreme. It's better to cut through the chaos with a sharp knife, or to strangle her in the cradle. Thinking of this, Jiang Shuyue's cold and tender little face suddenly came to mind. Why didn't he realize that his desk mate was a super beautiful woman in the previous life? Did time think of licking Wu Qingqing? He really can't remember clearly. After pondering for a while, he got up and went upstairs. As soon as I entered, I smelled the aroma of green pepper stir-fried meat. It must be Ms. Wei Qingrong cooking. Mom, if I owe someone 4.5 million, can our family still afford it? Wei Qingrong continued to stir-fry the spoon and turned back expressionlessly. Silly child, what are you saying? Who is your mother? Shen Zhou gave a bitter smile and said, Are you my biological mother? Can it be, can it not be? You and your father together don't sell for 450,000 yuan, it's still 4.5 million yuan. How dare you say that? Shen Chang, who had been sitting in the living room smoking, glanced up at the kitchen and thought to himself, if you're arguing, then you can argue. What's going on with me? Shen Zhou suddenly remembered that today was not a weekend. Why were both of them at home? It's not Mom and Dad, you two don't work, are we going to break up? Shen Chang extinguished his cigarette and said, Your aunt is coming, so I took half a day off with your mother. Auntie. What is she doing here, celebrating my 750 points in the college entrance examination? Wei Qingrong smiled and poured out the stir-fried pork with green peppers. 750, you dare to think about it, and you're not afraid of being pulled to do research. Isn't Xiaoyu going to junior high school? You just passed the exam. Your aunt wants us to discuss Xiaoyu's settlement in our house. Settle down. Shen Zhou thought for a moment and realized that there was indeed such a thing in his past life. Wang Xiaoyu, the younger sister of the aunt's family, didn't expect it to be so big. No, if she settles in our house, she won't have to give her my room again, will she? Otherwise. Anyway, you only come back once during winter and summer vacation. Ms. Wei Qingrong did not react. The word you, he said, was that Wang Xiaoyu had never lived in the Shen family before. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Wei Qingrong instructed Shen Chang to open the door and casually said, Shen Zhou, hurry up and tidy up your house. Don't be like a pig's nest all day. I've forgotten all about it. Shen Zhou sighed and went back to the house to tidy up. After Shen Chang opened the door, he was stunned and said, Girl, who are you looking for? Upon hearing this, Wei Qingrong tilted his head and looked at it, then he was stunned. The little girl was so beautiful, like one who walked out of a painting. She was tall and had big eyes, and she was pure white. Miss, did you go wrong? Hello uncle and auntie, I'm looking for Shen Zhou. Jiang Shuyue's face was flushed, her eyes curved into crescents, and she had dimples when she smiled. Wei Qingrong quickly pulled the person through the door. She thought it was her younger sister, but she didn't expect it to be Shen Zhou's female classmate. Did this kid fall in love? Jiang Shuyue sniffled and said, It smells so good, auntie is so beautiful. Crossing the small foyer, looking at the layout of 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, various warm decorations, and a family photo, she wanted to live here. What's your name? Wei Qingrong has always wanted a daughter, but he never wanted to get married. Now that Shen Zhou can take such a beautiful female classmate home, the old Shen family is really smoking from their ancestral graves. Glancing at Shen Chang, his eyes were full of meaning. My name is Jiang Shuyue, my desk mate from Shenzhou. Desk mate. Good desk mate. Shen Zhou quickly finished tidying up, but was stunned when he opened the door. Jiang Shuyue. Is she going to tell her parents about lending her 4.5 million? Grass. Mom is indeed right, beautiful women are all scammers. What are you doing here? Pop. Wei Qingrong gave him a slap on the back and said, What's your attitude? Even if your classmates come to play at home, they don't mention it in advance. His dad, go to the supermarket downstairs and buy some delicious food. Shen Zhou frowned and looked at Jiang Shuyue. She sat quietly on the sofa, pecking at the water glass and pursing her lips, making him somewhat puzzled about what he wanted to do. Chapter 3. This is the true school flower. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Walking on the central avenue of Bincheng No. 1 Middle School, Shen Zhou took a deep breath. A wave of heat surged into my nose. It's really hot in mid-June in Dongshan Province, at least 33 degrees today. The promotion of the 2008 Olympics was so well done that even today, the school's street lights are adorned with slogans saying, Welcome to the Olympics. He and Chen Chen sat down under the shade of trees near the playground. Xiao Chen, can you lend me some money? Chen Chen immediately covered his pocket and stuttered, how do you know I brought 300 yuan with me today? What? Who the hell asked you how much money you had? Xiao Chen, you can't be too high profile in life, do you understand? Uncle Biao occasionally loses money. If I tell him. Chen Chen's face collapsed and he said, Shen Zhou, Zhou Gu. I'll lend you that 50, even with interest. I can't give you more than 60 at most. Shen Zhou patted his shoulder and said, You don't need to return that 50. I have a business to talk to you about now. I remember you told me you have a small treasury. Chen Chen's delicate body, weighing nearly 200 pounds, suddenly stood up and said, There's no money. Hart said, That's the piggy bank I saved for 6 years from junior high school to high school, and I still have to take it to college to be carefree. Shen Zhou sighed and said, I'm giving you an opportunity to get rich. You don't know how to cherish it. If you miss it, you will regret it too much. And then give this regret another deadline. Will I regret it for 10,000 years? What about making a movie? Xiao Chen, isn't it good? You've learned how to answer quickly. To be honest, lend me 5,000 and repay you 5,001. Never break your promise. At this moment, Li Shuai and his group walked over. Shen Zhou also glanced at Wu Qingqing walking with Li Shuai. Li Shuai is the second-generation wealthy in his class. In this era, his family has assets of over 10 million, and he is truly a super-rich person. The Binqing department store is owned by Li Shuai's family. I heard that his father has other businesses, and in his past life, Shen Zhou had been at odds with him, so I don't know much about it. Shenzhou, you're a big man, don't you even have the courage? Apologize to Qingqing. Listening to Li Shuai's words, Shen Zhou sneered and pretended to hang him in front of him. Shen Zhou glanced at Wu Qingqing, who was holding his swan head high, and said, we're all adults now. Why bother finding our parents when we split hands? Li Shuai. Did they fall in love behind their backs? Didn't it be agreed that rain and dew will be evenly distributed, which was not discussed before college? No, you're old when you step on your horse and scold me. Your whole family is old. Wu Qingqing's pretty face turned red. She originally wanted Shen Zhou to know that without him, there would be people chasing her. She didn't expect Shen Zhou to be so shameless. They just briefly held hands once, and in his mouth it became a breakup. When did I fall in love with you? You really disappointed me, Shen Zhou. You're shameless. I hate you. Shen Zhou grinned and said, these little vegetables and chickens will collapse in just a few words. Since you're so disappointed, in front of so many classmates, I'll be frank. I don't like you, and I won't pursue you anymore, no matter how much you hate me. Wu Qingqing was dumbfounded. Did Shenzhou take gunpowder today? Where did Shenzhou, who used to make her happy and secretly served her snacks, go? How can she step down like this? Chase if you want, don't chase if you don't want, why not chase? I hate you. Woo 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 woo. Zhang Wen watched her best friend run away crying, glanced helplessly at Shen Zhou, and chased after her. Zhou Ming, who had been standing on the side without saying a word, sneered, Shen Zhou, are you too tasteless? Fu Cheng and Zhou Ming were both Li Shuai's attendants, and he also agreed, that's right, Wu Qingqing, as the class flower and also the school flower, you don't need to be so venomous. Li Shuai gritted his teeth and roared, are you a man? Where do you want her to face like a girl? Shen Zhou snorted coldly. As a reborn person who had been married to Wu Qingqing for several years in his previous life, would he care about this? Wu Qingqing's thoughts cannot be seen by others, doesn't he still know? I just want him to continue being a licking dog. Li Shuai, you should be happy. Without me as a competitor, you have a great chance. You are a wealthy second-generation and a bit handsome. Come on, you will definitely be a qualified licking dog. Upon hearing the first half of the sentence, Li Shuai was quite proud. He carefully pondered the second half, but the more he pondered, the more he realized it was not right. Lick the dog. His Shen Zhou's summary is a bit accurate. Li Shuai glared at him angrily, but before he could even figure it out, he followed Wu Qingqing with his two henchmen. After all, the word licking dogs was not used in 2009, and Shen Zhou vaguely remembers that it became popular in 2017 and 2018. Chen Chen was typing on the keyboard, not knowing who he was chatting with. Glancing at Shen Zhou, he thought to himself, why did Zhou Gu finish the college entrance examination so hard? And he put on a fierce prank. He has changed. He is no longer Wu Qingqing's follower. Zhou Gu, we have all graduated now, and I have something to hold in my heart. Big Lao. Why did you stop? Pick you up. Shen Zhou looked at the Rolls-Royce Phantom parked in front of him and asked Chen Chen. Chen Chen touched his nose and looked enviously at Shen Zhou. Maybe it will be yours in the future. Shen Zhou grinned and said, you have a good eye, Xiao Chen. I'm sure my brother will develop. I'll buy one for you to take for a ride in the future. Shen Zhou looked at the pitch-black glass and thought to himself, what are you stopping in front of me for, showing off your wealth? Just as he was about to get up and leave, a driver wearing white gloves slowly opened the car door in the back seat. I saw a piece of white, tender and smooth calf step out first, and then a touch of purple caught my eye. A young girl, wearing a fisherman's hat, wearing a purple waist-length skirt, and a pair of pure white and pink jade feet tightly wrapped in her small sandals. Under the thick black eyelashes, there are a pair of apricot eyes, a delicate cheong nose, and just right red lips. A head of black hair freely falls behind the waist. Shen Zhou was stunned and murmured, I finally understand the phrase, sister's purple has a great charm. Suddenly, a green and white jade arm reached out in front of him. Shen Zhou looked up at the girl's face and sighed at the creator's masterpiece. Wu Qingqing was indeed beautiful, but in front of him, he would be instantly reduced to ashes. Beauty, who are you? Are you insulting me with money? Turns out the girl was holding a bank card in her hand, looking like she wanted to give it to him. Take it. Chen Chen was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He pinched himself hard and finally regained his senses. He pushed Shen Zhou and said, she's Jiang Shuyue, your desk mate. Shen Zhou was stunned for a moment, carefully scrutinizing Jiang Shuyue, making her face blush. Immediately, a memory surged into my heart. Jiang Shuyue, the top student in the second class of the third year of high school, is known as the Autistic Black School Flower. Throughout her 3 years of high school, there was a saying that if Wu Qingqing's fair and tender skin color were replaced by Jiang Shuyue, she would surely amaze the world. Shen Zhou has been sitting with her for 2 years and has said no more than 10 sentences. He has also heard others say many things. Some people say that her family's business is covered in crabapple trees, some say she changes to a luxury car every day, and some even claim that her family's assets are trillions. Are you joking? This can last for a few years. I don't even make a draft when boasting. However, in his impression, although Jiang Shuyue looked a bit dark, her facial features were truly exquisite, and she was very cold and aloof. She didn't fake her words to anyone. He remembered very clearly, and there were also rumors about him and Jiang Shuyue. Jiang Shuyue ignored anyone and only spoke when Shen Zhou asked her. It's no wonder Shen Zhou didn't notice it just now. The changes have been a bit too big. The real version of painting has changed from wheat color to white and tender moonlight. It's a bit ridiculous. Are you really Jiang Shuyue? Can we change the skin with our current medical technology? Jiang Shuyue angrily glanced at him, like a noble Tianshan snow lotus, and said again, take it. The driver, seeing Shen Zhou's incredulous expression, approached him and pulled him aside, saying, Master Shen, my young lady was originally like this, but she deliberately painted it a bit black before. Get in the car and say. Shen Zhou turned around and glanced at the stunning Jiang Shuyue. He had indeed thought she was beautiful, but she was a bit dark. Now, when he saw her standing next to him, he looked like a toad. Jiang, get in the car. It's a bit too ostentatious here. In no time, Rolls-Royce Phantom turned around and prepared to depart from No. 1 middle school. Chen Chen was scattered alone in the wind, thinking that she wouldn't take her graduation photo anymore. At this moment, his QQ rang and he saw the class group urging them to take photos. He instantly picked up his phone and took a photo of the tail lights of the Rolls-Royce Phantom. Send pictures and documents. Shen Zhou was kidnapped by Rolls-Royce Phantom. Please reserve 3 photo spots for me. Chapter 26. Dormitory Chihua. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Shenzhou and Chen didn't have a meal, and they both came here to order a Coke and air conditioning for free after eating. Only the two of them had a big meal, and Shenzhou only had a hamburger and half a cup of cola, leaving over 80 yuan for Chen to eat on his own. I'm leaving now. The character has been established for you. If you see them again in the future, you'll just die like this and wait for the character to collapse. Shenzhou's plan can be considered as a push for him. This kid loves to eat and is lazy. What if the previous tragedy happens again in a few years? Good health is the key to being able to resist stress. Chen quickly grabbed him and said, "Zhou, adoptive father, Dad, don't leave. What am I talking to them about? Get lost, I haven't even reconciled with you for betraying my appearance. If you're interested in Yang Jing, you can make plans to go for a run and lose weight together in the future. I think this is a bit of a drama. I can still help you get into battle by riding a horse. I'm not very happy either. You scumbag, you blushed just now. Now you're saying you don't like it. You're fine when you go back to school. It's just over half an hour's journey. Can you take me back to my dormitory? I don't want this adoptive father's name anymore. Why are you showing off in front of your classmates? That's it. It's almost 2 o'clock, and Jiang Shuyue is coming back early. I have to take her back to the dormitory." Chen sighed and said, "You said it's not about dating. You're too concerned about Jiang's situation. Do you have it? We're just good brothers, didn't I also play tricks for you?" Shenzhou wouldn't admit anything he didn't have. He just listened to his mother and took care of the little rich woman in college. He greeted his friends whom he had met before taking the bus and leaving. The entrance of Jeju University is similar to other universities, with a large stone door engraved with the words Jeju University. On both sides are retractable doors and small doors for passage. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the people and cars at the school gate are still very crowded. Traffic police cars cannot enter, so they can only walk over to divert traffic. The main culprits causing traffic congestion are those parents who park their cars on the roadside and take their children to school for several hours. Now that everything is fine, no one can walk. Shenzhou returned to the dormitory and put down his suitcase, occupying a bed by the window, only to find that none of them had come to their dormitory. He had nothing in his suitcase except for clothes, so he confidently pushed the box under the bed and left the door open. He needs to go around the school and see if there are any transfer shops. He had just walked to the cafeteria near the dormitory when he saw a familiar figure, and the girl also looked at him. Shenzhou. Lin Yu, what a coincidence. Lin Yu was surprised to see him wearing slippers and big shorts and said, "Are you from Jeju University?" Shenzhou looked at her carrying a pack of snacks and smiled, "Aren't you too?" "I'm from the finance department." "What about you?" "There's not a single truth in your mouth. Your friend's loss of 50 pounds was also fabricated, right?" I'm in charge of business administration. Can you put some pressure on Chen? With his physique and not much of a talkative personality, he asked me to accompany him to meet people. I can't make him feel embarrassed. Didn't you just say a few words throughout the process? Lin Yu appreciated him more and more. She understood how to save face for her friends, unlike her male classmates in high school who only pretended to be pushy and made his hair look like a chicken coop, childish to death. I'm pretty much the same. Our girls' dormitory is a bit dirty. I need to go back and tidy up, and also buy some snacks to share with my roommates. Do you want to eat? Shenzhou waved his hand and said, "I don't like snacks, I happen to have something to do. See you next time." Lin Yu paused for a moment, and seeing that Shenzhou had no intention of asking her for QQ, she felt embarrassed to rush in. However, in her heart, she said that they would meet by chance. In fact, Lin Yu gave Shenzhou a quite mature feeling. Unlike what she should have at this age, most girls are at the age of 18 or 19, especially those who are a bit attractive. There are not many girls like her who are not self-centered. Then he walked around the cafeteria and found that all the windows were lit, not a single one was empty. He asked the small supermarket owner at the door, and it turned out that his junior was still working part-time. Shen Zhou glanced at the time and saw that it was still early. The road was so congested, and the little rich woman had to walk for at least an hour and a half. He wanted to look around the playground, but the campus was too big for him. He didn't want to go to the grove just after he arrived. When he saw the wooden chairs and stone benches in the grove, he gave a sneer, "No dog will come here." After returning to the dormitory, he found that everyone was actually present. There are a total of 4 people in the dormitory. Jiang Shuyue, from Dongshan Beiqing, is about 1.75 meters tall and can be considered a fellow villager from Shenzhou. Su Hao, from Hujian in the south, is not very tall and his Mandarin is not very standard. His personality is a bit similar to Chen Chen's. After listening to Shen Zhou for a while, he doesn't like to interrupt, maybe because he just got to know him. Zhao Zishuai, a person from the southern Suzhou city, looks dressed in famous brands and carries a crazy person. It goes without saying that he is a second-generation person, and the price of 4,000 to 5,000 yuan is not affordable for ordinary families. He also speaks in a more forced manner and is known as Zhao Zilong from Suzhou city. "Brother, where did you come from?" "Puff. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. You can't handle it accurately with your ordinary hair." "My name is Shenzhou, from Bincheng, and I used the internet name violently beating Zhao Zilong. Zhao Zishuai said, "Are you looking for trouble?" He looked at Shen Zhouyang's QQ username and fell silent in an instant, his love madness in his hand about to be deformed by him. However, Jiang Yu and Su Hao almost died laughing on the chair, not only because of his internet name, but also because of the 2 sentences from Shenzhou's student Su Hao, which were quite amusing. "Zhao Zishuai's nose is getting angry, what's wrong with him pretending to be forced? I'm crazy with love, you're crooked with Nokia, that's the difference, that's the difference." After chatting for a while, we tidied up the dormitory together and gained a basic understanding of our respective situations. Jiang Yu is very normal. Graduating and taking the postgraduate entrance exam, taking the civil service exam, is the traditional thinking mode of Dongshan people. After all, it is an iron rice bowl, and the older generation values it. Su Hao said he wants to learn fluent Mandarin and go to the External Relations Department of the Student Union to exercise himself. Even if Southerners go back to school, they are likely to still do business. This is also why he is preparing to go to the External Relations Department. He interacts with social bosses in advance and learns faster than books. Zhao Zishuai stopped pretending and directly showcased his situation, saying that he was a second-generation wealthy person with no desires or demands. The biggest use of studying business management was to inherit the family business. He said he didn't really want to learn this, but his father added 2,000 yuan to his monthly living expenses, which he really couldn't do. "Listen, is this human language? 800 yuan is considered normal, 1,000 yuan is considered as xiaofu. He earns 2,000 plus 2,000 yuan per month, which was in 2009. Directly facing the siege of the entire dormitory, yes, the leaders led by Shen Zhou said they would eat from wealthy families in the future. Zhao Zishuai is a bit eager to switch dormitories. He thinks feng shui here is not good, and it's already university. How could anyone still hold him back? Stop it, we'll all be brothers from now on, it's easy to say. Have you seen any girls in your class? Don't misunderstand, I didn't mean that. Shen Zhou chuckled and said, "Who asked you what you mean? Isn't that what you mean? You want to find a partner. You want to fall in love. You want to be a second-generation licking dog. Cut, love. I'm tired of it, really tired. You don't know how clingy the girls in our Jiangnan water town are. I've talked to 7 or 8 of them, and each one's brother is shouting. I'm tired, how many of you have talked to? Chapter 24. Aren't they good brothers? I believe. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On August 30th, Jiang Shuyue still did not return to Bincheng. The other apartment in Shenzhou has also been rented out, but there is no other way. The Education Bureau has released the information and will renovate, and add 2 multimedia buildings on the basis of the 11th middle school, without delaying enrollment next year. He looked bored at the little rich woman's QQ space at home, and also stole some vegetables from her. He discovered a time point, which was the day they took photos at number 1 middle school on June 11, 2009. Little rich woman never posted any comments or logs before. Afterwards, when she was with Shen Zhou, she recorded it and posted it, as if it was still private because she didn't see anyone like or comment. This is very unreasonable. Now Jiang Shuyue is recognized as the most beautiful school flower in Bincheng number 1 middle school, and her space is not liked by anyone. Even if the class members see it, they will casually comment on it, right? Is this just for him to see on his own? Suddenly, QQ dropped a message. Last time Chen sold him news, he slaughtered this kid for a big meal at KFC, which made him depressed for a long time. Zhou, school is about to start and the class is preparing to gather again. Are you going? I'm not going, I'm not in the mood. No, who did you ask for on horseback? I'll tell you, your behavior in wartime must have been a traitor. Do you know if you're going to be soaked in a pig cage? No one really asked this time, and that was a shooting, okay. I had to immerse myself in a pig cage for adultery. I can't do anything about it, Zhou. You're so popular. Wu Qingqing even said he wants to fight Jiang Shuyue. G-U-N. Okay. In the evening, Phoenix Restaurant in the city center. The last gathering of classmates before the start of the school year, except for those who didn't get into college, almost everyone came, except for Jiang Shuyue and Shen Zhou. The table was pre-booked by Li Dai, and the food was served quickly. Today, he couldn't afford to put on big garlic, so he couldn't afford it. The pocket money given by his father has basically bottomed out this summer, so he can't put on any more. And he goes to play with Wu Qingqing every day, buying snacks every time. He found that he seemed to have taken the old path of Shenzhou. And this meal was very comfortable, without Shen Zhou, the troublemaker, coming out to pretend. Chen also shut up and worked hard, nor did he pretend for his adoptive father. Now everyone in the class knows that Shen Zhou bought a house and invested in opening a store during the summer vacation, and some people suspect that he may have won the lottery. When, how did I hear that Shenzhou and Qingqing had a falling out? Didn't he pursue Qingqing for 3 years? Zhang Wen glanced at her and thought to herself, what kind of news do you have? It's too late. It was 800 years ago, and you only found out. This is true, the two of them are no longer in contact, and QQ has also been deleted. She still preserves a trace of Wu Qingqing's face here, not to mention that she was deleted by Shen Zhou. Li Shimi glanced at Wu Qingqing on her right side and whispered, do you really want to fight Jiang Shuyue? Don't talk nonsense, she was drunk and talking nonsense. She always felt that Shen Zhou couldn't fall in love with others, and she couldn't get over this hurdle in her heart. Zhang Wen said again, actually, I asked her before, and she also said she doesn't like Shenzhou. She didn't feel like she could start dating. After deleting them from each other now, maybe she will forget about college. I heard that college is all about handsome guys and beautiful women. With her innocent appearance, dating is not easy. Li Shimi sighed and said, actually, Shenzhou is pretty good. She can make money, has a house, is tall, has an average appearance, is also intelligent, and doesn't speak like those boys in the class who are playful and smiling. She's a perfect marriage partner according to her parents. It's a pity. What a pity. Do you still want to compete with Jiang Shuyue? Cut, I'll just casually talk about it. But Shen Zhou said he and Jiang Shuyue are good brothers, and they. Zhang Wen thought of the scene at the pregnancy and baby shop again. So what? Wen, do you know any insider information? Are you sleeping in another bed? He. Li Shimi snorted coldly and said, what's wrong with sleeping? Didn't you see the pair from class 3? They had a big belly before the college entrance exam, and both of them got into college. They took care of their children while going to school. I feel pretty good about it. And are Jiang Shuyue and Shen Zhou just good brothers? They are desk mates for 3 years. On the surface, Jiang Shuyue doesn't talk to anyone, even pretends to be ugly and smears black. In private, how come you don't know that they are already very familiar? Moreover, regardless of gender, Jiang Shuyue only plays with Shenzhou, not in love, and even dogs don't believe it. Zhang Wen looked at her in surprise and asked in a low voice, Shimi, you won't fall in love with Shenzhou, will you? So what if I like it, but I just appreciate it? Do you understand? I just realized after graduation that he is really dazzling. I'm not stupid enough to meet Jiang Shuyue, but in the future, when it comes to finding a partner, I may follow Shenzhou's standards. This kind of naive kid in our class, forget it. There's no other way. Boys who just graduated from high school either go out early to work during the summer vacation, or have good family conditions and just spend their days playing games in internet cafes. There are also childish ghosts who steal vegetables and leave messages in the middle of the night. How can we compare with Shen Zhou, a veteran who lives a lifetime? Zhang Wen murmured, also. I hope Qingqing University can recover. Look at her, sitting there quietly like a sculpture. After she finished speaking, she glanced at Li Shimi and didn't want to disturb her. Instead, Li Shuai kept showing his hospitality and served Wu Qingqing vegetables. Wu Qingqing ate all of it, which made Li Shuai ecstatic, and he said that the opportunity had come. The days without Shenzhou are comfortable. Li Shuai is still the first person in class 2, known as the handsome guy. Stay away from me, the smoke is too strong. Li Shuai instantly stampeded and continued to use public chopsticks to pick up vegetables for her. He even refused to pass cigarettes with his dog legs. With his academic performance, he couldn't get into a university in Jeju. If he couldn't win the goddess on the last day of summer vacation, he was afraid that the university would start and he wouldn't have a chance. On Zhang Wen's side, several people are still quietly discussing Shenzhou. Lu Shasha, who had eaten well, quietly listened for a while and joined the chat room. You still have one thing to know. A week ago, Shenzhou met my aunt through me, and now they are in the cosmetics business. According to my aunt, Shenzhou made tens of thousands by reselling water light needles and ice film. Li Shimi and Zhang Wen have both petrified and become numb. Is this still the Shenzhou they know? Are all eyes full of money? Wen, I may not be able to find a suitable partner in college, and I still want to have a sweet relationship. I think so too. Look at those hanging hairs talking about DNF, masturbating, and CF in the clouds. They've already made a lot of money from Shenzhou, and they're still talking about how to cheat their parents into using money to play games. Speechless. Lu Shasha asked again, didn't you say you applied to Sichuan University? Why did you go to Jinan University again? Zhang Wen and Li Shimi exchanged a glance and looked at Wu Qingqing, who was eating well, without speaking. Lu Shasha said to herself, do you all want to be closer to home? I really long for the capital city of Yanjing, so you must come and play with me. As the sky grew late, as everyone received calls from their parents one by one, the dinner party also came to an end. The more people speak, the more sad they become. Wu Qingqing and her best friend group left early without even looking at Li Shuai. The KTV Li second generation is considered a free order. His carefully prepared KTV love song confession program announced bankruptcy. Wu Qingqing said throughout the dinner, stay away from me. Li Dai didn't give up, he still chased after him. Qingqing, I like you. I've liked you for a long time. The university is about to start, and I'm afraid that if I don't say it again, you'll be taken away by someone else. Can you be my girlfriend? Li Shuai's face turned red. It seemed that he had taken a big sip of wine to boost his courage. He didn't take much care of his lackey brothers at the dinner table just now, only showing off to Wu Qingqing. Wu Qingqing turned around and said apologetically, I don't want to be in a relationship right now. Thank you for liking me. Zhang Wen and Li Shimi exchanged a glance, as if to say, she wouldn't refuse Li Shuai because of Shenzhou, would she? Didn't you say you didn't like it before? The classmates ate a small melon and dispersed in Li Shuai's failure. Zhang Wen couldn't help but ask, Qingqing, I think. Why do you think Shenzhou deleted my QQ? I've heard you talking so much, don't worry, I won't fight with Jiang Shuyue. I just want to know why she stole my 3 years. Qingqing, don't you like Shenzhou? I seem to like it a bit now. Chapter 15. Show you legs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is Zhou Gu? You smile so lewdly. Did I laugh? I laughed, my mouth was about to grin to the back of my head. Shut up, do you know the consequences of some people knowing too many secrets? Chen Chen lowered his head to smell the vinegar and took a small sip. It's really sour, he said 10 minutes later. The pink labor stopped in front of this small shop. Jiang Shuyue is dressed very beautifully today. A black knee-length pleated skirt with a pair of white silk on her round calves. Shen Zhou was stunned and couldn't help but face the door. She wore a white silk short-sleeved shirt on her upper body and a black bow on her chest. I don't know what high-end product it is, but Shen Zhou has also seen many young ladies wearing this kind of outfit, but the upper body is a bit transparent. Jiang Shuyue's silk top with short sleeves doesn't have that kind of running out, and it tastes different from person to person. Paired with her small face, it's incredibly pure. Zhou Gu, do you think I will disturb you? Chen Chen's words interrupted Shen Zhou's thoughts. Jiang Shuyue ran into the house and sat directly next to Shenzhou, thirsty. When Shenzhou looks at her face, he always has an unreal feeling. She looks so silly and cute. Her eyes are bright and his mother bright. Who will be cheaper in the future? You sit inside, this big-headed fan can't blow too far out. I'll go get you a bottle of water. Chen Chen licked his big face and smiled slightly at Jiang Shuyue. Jiang, take your time eating. I'm full now. Hey. You're stepping on the horse. Goodbye, brother Zhou. Shen Zhou looked at the only half plate of sauce beef left on the table and couldn't help feeling angry. The dog picked it up and promised to treat it, but took the opportunity to run away. Drink slowly at room temperature. Shenzhou, you're so kind. Are we brothers? Uncle Li, 2 more grilled dishes and a bowl of cold noodles. Xiao Jian, why are you hiding there? Go and do it. Shenzhou looked through the small window in the kitchen and saw, isn't this Li Jian from their class? Is Li Jihuashao owned by his family? He actually found out. After a while, Li Jian brought over a bowl of cold noodles and said, Shenzhou, don't tell them. Li Jian didn't know why he didn't talk to Jiang Shuyue. Shenzhou pushed the cold noodles in front of Jiang Shuyue and joked, you should have said earlier that your family is running it. If business doesn't get better, what are you afraid of? My classmates are not ghosts, they can still eat and drink for free. Li Jian's face turned red and he said, I didn't mean that. Shenzhou instantly understood, so he whispered, I understand. My parents don't necessarily earn as much as your father's shop. The truth is, you can be considered a little wealthy second generation. Li Jian really wants to shout out his adoptive father, he understands him so well. In fact, he is a bit insecure, and his parents are in the business of his classmates. The store is located near the school, so he is afraid that others will look down on him, so no one has ever said that his parents run a burning store. I didn't expect Shenzhou to understand halfway through his words, he's just a kindred spirit. As for the white moonlight of goddesses like Jiang Shuyue, he cannot be qualified to touch his fingers and just appreciate it at a glance. In fact, Li Jian felt that the dark Jiang Shuyue looked better. It was too cold now, and she looked like a stranger not to enter. "Boss, my fire hasn't started yet. I've been busy with Zhou Gu, this meal is mine." Jiang Shuyue took 2 sips, her pink lips opening and closing, which were very pleasing to the eyes. "Is it delicious?" "It's delicious, cool, sour and sweet. By the way, with your grades, you should be aiming for a score of 700. How did you get to 669? Jiang Shuyue's face paused and she said hesitantly, "I don't have enough time to finish my essay." "No, I haven't finished it yet." Shen Zhou pondered and realized that this was not right. According to Jiang Shuyue's academic performance, the previous questions should be easy to solve. Although he forgot what he did in the college entrance examination, it was definitely not right if he didn't have enough time. "When did you learn to lie?" Pop. Jiang Shuyue suddenly missed the porcelain spoon in her hand and knocked it against the edge of the bowl, making a crisp sound. "Actually, I don't know how to write." Shen Zhou searched using UC, and the question turned out to be a family outing. Her family is so wealthy that they provided her with bodyguards and drivers in high school, as well as 4.5 million yuan in pocket money. She doesn't know how to write about family outings. "Have you never gone out to play before?" Shen Zhou patted his belly and took his last sip of beef soup. "It's so full, you keep eating," he said. Jiang Shuyue's mouth turned a bit red as she ate the sauce made from fish-flavored shredded meat and fire. She also took a few more sips of the cold noodles and didn't move. "Shen Zhou, I'm full too, I can't eat anymore." "Ah, do you know that wasting food is shameful?" As Shen Zhou spoke, he pulled the half bowl of cold noodles in front of him, as well as the leftover one from Jiang Shuyue, which was burned on fire, and wolfed it down. Jiang Shuyue's eyes were bright, and the embarrassment she had just been asked about by Shen Zhou dissipated. "Shen Zhou, that's what I have left." "Oh, I know, we can't waste it." "Oh, Shen Zhou, you didn't help me wipe my mouth. Wait for me to finish." "Okay." Shen Zhou suddenly froze, wiped his mouth, waiting for me to finish. How could this be said so smoothly? Has it become a habit to help her wipe her mouth? How terrifying. "Nah, take a piece of paper and wipe it yourself. You're already an adult, and you have to do your own things." "I don't know." "Let me show you the legs." As Jiang Shuyue spoke, she pulled up the pleated skirt, revealing the white flesh at the junction of the white silk and skirt. Shen Zhou is choking, coughing profusely. If he eats noodles, he probably has them coming out of his nostrils. He directly held down Jiang Shuyue's hand and pulled down her skirt hem. "What are you doing? You're using this to test your brother." Jiang Shuyue looked innocent and said, "You like to watch it. You watched it more than 20 times that night. Auntie, keep your voice down. This is a public place, I'm not a pervert. I have this kind of persona in your heart." Jiang Shuyue looked at him in confusion and said, "Isn't it okay?" Shen Zhou gritted his teeth and finished drinking cold noodles. He forced himself to take the last bite of fire and stuffed it into his mouth, muttering, "Okay. It's really good. Uncle Li, pay the bill." Jiang Shuyue didn't feel like she had done anything wrong at all, so she picked up her pink small leather bag and took out her wallet. "Shen Zhou, I also have money. Put it back." "Oh, listen to you, I haven't wiped my mouth yet." Shen Zhou saw the uncles and aunts around him who were eating, all bending their eyes to look at him. He casually took out a piece of paper from the side and slowly wiped off the stains on the corners of her mouth. When he turned around to pay the bill, Jiang Shuyue's lips were even harder to suppress than AK's. At this moment, Li Jian walked out sweating profusely in his apron and said, "Brother Zhou, forget it. I'll pay next time." "Dad, my classmate Shen Zhou, I'll waive the bill. Li Dagong was kneading noodles when he heard his son say that his classmates were coming to eat. He immediately leaned over and said, "No, no, uncle will give you whatever you want to eat." "Ha! It's you, young man. Are you in the same class as Xiao Jian? I haven't heard of him before." Shen Zhou laughed heartily and said, "Uncle, I won't let him say that. If my classmates don't want money, will you be able to do business? If you keep asking for money, we won't be able to come and eat." Li Dagong wiped his sweat with a towel around his neck, glanced at Jiang Shuyue, and was stunned for a moment before looking back. In the end, Shen Zhou still couldn't resist and was exempted from the bill. Let Chen Chen, this hanging hair, escape a disaster and make sure to kill him next time. "Shenzhou, Auntie asked me to come to your house for dinner tonight." "What? When did you call my mom? Are you so close now?" "My parents are not at home." Jiang Shuyue took out her phone and saw a text message saying, "I'll be home soon." The note is, "Mom." Chapter 25. Opening of School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On August 31st, Shenzhou and Chen Chen arrived at Bincheng railway station carrying suitcases. He originally wanted to ride on the little rich woman's luxury car, but Jiang Shuyue said it seemed like he couldn't come back and wouldn't be able to arrive at school until September 1st. The weather is scorching hot, and the train station is overcrowded. Parents who have no trains in the city have also come to Bincheng to see off their students. Chen Chen listened to Shenzhou's suggestion and applied to Dongshan University of Technology, which was also selected based on his scores and belongs to the same university city. "You're right, it's the university town where there is a women's college." At 8 o'clock in the morning, with the flow of people, the two finally found their seats and drove out of the platform. The scenery by the railway slowly receded. Chen Chen touched the bank card hidden in his pocket and was a bit dazed by the movie. He always thought there would be a pickpocket. Apart from the tuition fees paid, there was still over 20,000 yuan lying in the bank card that came with the notification letter from the school, which he earned desperately in high school. Fortunately, Shen Zhou didn't know that he had been passing on his message to Jiang Shuyue since his first year of high school. Chen Chen once thought that Shen Zhou's desk mate, the black girl, would care so much about how he pursued Wu Qingqing. Until graduating from high school and taking photos, Jiang Shuyue made a comeback. He understood but didn't. Jiang Shuyue is so beautiful, why did she fall in love with Shenzhou? Apart from having a mature personality, Shenzhou is not the most handsome, which is his biggest doubt. "Zhou Gu, what exactly is college life like? You don't need to attend evening self-study anymore, do you think there will be many beautiful girls? Attending classes, failing exams, taking makeup exams, and watching people fall in love, Jill is in pain." "What? This should be your college life. You haven't lost weight for 3 months in your his mother summer vacation. It's a squeeze." Chen Chen awkwardly moved inside, his heart already filled with infinite hope for the university. That's where he rose up, how could it be like what Shenzhou said? Jeju is the capital city of Dongshan province. Apart from having many people and cars, the status of the Big Brother is also uncertain, and GDP can no longer afford to be the provincial capital. At December 30th, noon, they finally arrived and slowly walked out of the platform with the flow of people. As soon as they left the station, 3 experienced drivers rushed over to attract customers, offering a fair price for both the elderly and the young. Chen Chen was already so hungry that his chest was pressing against his back, and he wanted to agree. Shen Zhou refused in one fell swoop. Can he be slaughtered as a piglet? Jokes. Locals, don't make a fuss, uncle. In the southern suburbs of the university city, we're all in our junior year. Are we still playing this game? Young man, you can't say that. It's not much difference. Forget it, do you see those around you who have parents? Finding someone like this is the new student. Finally, Shen Zhou took Chen for more than 10 minutes and took a direct bus to the university city. Little did they know that there was a lot of fun going on, with many parents complaining about the overcharging of taxis in Jeju. On the contrary, those who only drove without their parents were fine. Zhou Gu, have you even studied the bus routes? Nonsense, we don't have a car ourselves. Let's take a taxi, he dares to ask you for 100 yuan. And you? Me. My maximum is 50. Xiao Chen, you should have some planning now. Universities have already started. There's a plan, actually, I made plans with a few girls. Girl. You. Well, I used your photo. I'll fuck your big dad. You kid is cheating me. I don't fall in love. Chen immediately pleaded, I also met at school Chiba. Anyway, we are all new students. Who would have thought they would say we should meet at the beginning of the school year? My adoptive father, can you help me? Shen Zhou looked at Chen speechlessly and said, please treat me to dinner, I'll help you deal with them. Deal. Chen belongs to the kind of chubby guy who is clueless. For familiar people, you would think he is a social bully, but for strangers, he is just a clunky guy who can't hit a fart with 3 sticks. A popular saying on the internet that is very applicable now is, he hits hard on the internet, but in reality he is submissive. This is also due to his proud figure, about 1.8 meters, weighing around 200 pounds, which is indeed a bit overweight. His small belly is like being pregnant for 3 or 4 months. The bus soon arrived at the entrance of the Industrial University, where there was a snack street. They met at KFC on the corner of the snack street. The art style of 2009 was very simple, and the college students who came and went didn't say they were wandering around wearing hot pants. A solid color T-shirt and jeans were already very trendy. Such people in Dongshan are collectively referred to as chaoba. Most of the dresses worn by girls are long skirts, but their legs are still the same white. As soon as I entered the door, someone waved at Shenzhou. Is that Chen? Shenzhou nodded stiffly. There are a total of 5 people in the other party, 3 women and 2 men. The questioning girl has a little freckles on her face, a small round face, a chubby figure, and an ordinary appearance. Her name is Yang Jing. Chen coughed dryly and said, my name is Shenzhou. Wang Sihui. Zhang Si. After the introduction, Shenzhou chatted with these people haphazardly, but Chen ordered his meal and began to feast on it, his mouth full of bread crumbs. It seems that I am really hungry. Like Shenzhou, she is not very talkative, and there is also a girl named Lin Yu who is quietly eating French fries there. After introducing herself, she basically interjected 10 sentences. She is a southern girl from Guangdong, quite beautiful, with fair skin, tied up in a first love ponytail, and is best friend of Yang Jing. Does every beautiful girl have an ordinary best friend by her side? Speaking of Lin Yu, her figure is also pretty good. She is close to 1.7 meters tall, wearing a heat-absorbing black T-shirt and tight denim on hot days. Her good figure is fully exposed, even though she is sitting, her protruding figure cannot be concealed. The gaze of the 2 boys at the same desk also kept staring at her from time to time. Chen, what's your major? Chen paused for a moment and continued eating, but Shenzhou was stunned. He really didn't know which major Chen Bao was in, damn it. I'm sorry everyone, I'm not Chen, I'm Shenzhou. The girl named Yang Jing is all confused. The person who has been chatting with her in the chiba for so long is actually the chubby guy in front of her who only knows how to eat. Lin Yu couldn't hold back the corners of her mouth and stuffed a French fries into her mouth to cover up her smile. However, Shenzhou once said he would help Chen handle it, so he must do it beautifully. The result is that Shenzhou has created a character for Chen Li to work hard and lose 50 pounds in 3 months of summer vacation. And besides me, he doesn't have any other friends, so he's actually a bit insecure. Xiao Chen has set a goal and will definitely lose less than 150 pounds by the end of his sophomore year. Also, have you ever heard a sentence? Lin Yu asked with interest. What words? Shen Zhou said to Yang Jing, every fat guy is a potential stock. Is it possible that Chen Chen didn't resonate with this girl during the summer vacation after chatting for so long? He also meant to speak for Chen Chen, and when Chen Chen calms down, you will know how ordinary he is, ******. Yang Jing glanced at Chen Chen with a deep feeling. She was also slightly overweight, but couldn't make up her mind to lose weight. Hearing this, she couldn't help but look up at Chen Chen a few times. Chen, I didn't expect you to be because of your inferiority complex. I forgave you, but the fact that you are a freshman at a technical university is not a lie, is it? Shen Zhou quickly nudged him with his elbow and said, they're talking to you. Chen Chen's chubby face immediately turned red. No, except for the name and photo, everything else is real. I really study environmental engineering, class 3. Can I learn weight loss from you? Actually, I've been wanting to lose weight for a long time. Okay. At this moment, Chen Chen made up his mind and returned to the dormitory to study how to scientifically lose weight. Shenzhou, what about you? You haven't mentioned what major to study yet. Lin Yu asked. He always feels that the girl's gaze at him is not right. Me. Clothing engineering, I love learning, everything else has nothing to do with me. Our school doesn't have this major, he must be deceiving people. Zhang Si chuckled. Lin Yu, however, rarely refuted her, not necessarily, maybe it's a new major. This woman actually helped Shenzhou speak, and Shenzhou himself was confused. He casually made it up. She wouldn't really be interested in him, would she?